Hello everyone, my name is Adam Riskin, and I'm the BlackLine practice leader here at Revelwood. This video is about how BlackLine can help REIT and property management type companies save significant time when reconciling bank accounts. We understand the challenge because many of these companies have one bank account per property, which can add up to hundreds or thousands of bank recs your team needs to complete each month. And as your portfolio of properties grows, so does the number of banks and the number of bank recs to complete each month. Now, we have several customers in the same industry that use BlackLine to automate their bank reconciliation process, some with over 500 recs. And most see their system automatically match over 90% of their bank transactions to their journal entries. And it's allowed them to reallocate staff to other departments and freed up time to work on other projects and initiatives. Today, I'm going to show how BlackLine automates such a large percentage of bank recs. For perspective, let's look at how most companies do bank reconciliations today. They take the general ledger and bank data, dump them out to an Excel file, put them side by side, and then match records one by one. So I got check number 1791 for $467,000 on my bank statement. Let me go find it on my GL. And when I find it, I either cross it off or I change it to a color. Now let's see how it works in BlackLine. What you see on the screen now are transactions for an operating account reconciliation. And these have been preloaded into the system. It includes both depository and disbursement transactions. The left side shows the bank transactions, and the right side shows the journal entries. Now, the loading of these transactions can be fully automated, where the system automatically imports on a scheduled basis. And it can be as frequent as several times a day if you want. No human steps are required. Now let's look at the logic needed to reconcile this account. We have some AP checks here, where if the check number and the amount are the same, the transactions match. We have some deposits here, where if the amount, date, BAI code, and document type are the same, the transactions are matched. We have the total amount of multiple ACH journal entries matched to one withdrawal on the bank statement. We have the total amount of multiple ZBA bank credits matched to the total amount of multiple journal entries. And maybe the most impressive feature, the system can look for any combination of bank transactions that sum up to the same amount as a journal entry. Now, all this logic that we just saw, it can be set up in the system, so the system can automate and do all this matching work for you. BlackLine calls these pass rules. You can create as many as you want. You can utilize all the fields in your bank and journal entry files in your matching logic, and they're really easy to set up. So let's take a look at some of those pass rules. Here's those 5 pass rules set up in the system. Let's take a look at the pass rule to match our AP checks. First, I tell the system which records are AP checks. On my bank side, BAI code 475 represents a check. And if you're not using BAI codes or aren't familiar with them, there are other ways to flag a transaction as an AP check. On my journal entry side, it's an entry with a document type of PMCHK. Then I tell the system that the amounts and the check numbers of the bank and journal entries need to be the same to mark them as a match. And it's really as simple as that. So now that we've seen an overview of the setup, let's actually run these pass rules and see this automation in action. I'm putting these screens side by side to help here. The right screen contains all my bank and journal entry transactions for the month. I have 212 bank transactions and 237 journal entries, about 500 in total. Keep those numbers in the back of your head for a minute. Now, I'll click the button that reconciles these transactions using the 5 pass rules. Note that although you see me clicking buttons for each step, these steps can be automated. I'm just manually doing it that way for this demo because it helps people understand how the system works. So the system is finished reconciling these transactions. So after refreshing the screen, notice how most of the records are gone. That's because the system just matched them. The only remaining transactions are the exceptions. So picture this in your current world. The system is scheduled to do this work daily, weekly, or monthly, but it runs at night, and it matches 90 to 95% of your transactions. Your team comes into work in the morning, opens the system, and comes to this screen. And they only need to research these remaining exceptions. Picture the time saved with this approach. Now your team can spend more time on researching the exceptions instead of just finding them, or have more time to spend on other projects and initiatives. Picture the ability to identify discrepancies immediately instead of waiting till month end, or completing your recs before the close instead of after. The benefits are endless. Also, note that I'm using a small number of transactions in this demo because it makes it easier to follow, but the system can easily handle hundreds of thousands of records if that's what you have. Now, here's how to handle the remaining exceptions. In this example, we have these two deposits the system didn't match. It's because my bank transactions had a date of June 5th, but the associated journal entry date was June 25th. I told my pass rules to ignore them because the dates were so far apart. But that's okay, because I can match them from this screen. I click on my two bank transactions and two journal entries. Now, check out this section of the screen. It's my helper. It's showing that the two bank items I clicked totaled $17,500, and the two journal entries I clicked were also $17,500. And the difference here is obviously 0. This helps me to know that the exceptions I'm matching in the screen are the same amounts. The last step is to click the match button. And now those transactions are gone from this screen because they're matched. All that's left are these remaining checks in my journal entry transactions. These are outstanding checks that haven't cleared the bank yet. Here's the steps to mark them as outstanding at the end of the month. I click on all the checks, come over here and click the Create Item button. So I mark these as outstanding items. So all that's left to do is go and review my final bank to book report. So here's my final report. At the very top, you can see a full audit trail of your bank and journal entry transaction matches. If I click on the automatic link, this shows me all the transactions the system's matched for me. For example, if I click on this match right here for my ZBA credits, I can see on the top the 5 bank transactions that match to the 2 journal entries on the bottom. And the sum of both total $350,000. The bank balance is automatically populated for you when you load the bank files. So you don't need to spend time keying them in, and you know they're always accurate. These are the supporting items we just flagged a few minutes ago. Here's the GL balance. This gets imported directly from your general ledger system, so you don't need to key in those amounts either. The unidentified difference, this is my bank balance, less outstanding checks, less GL balance. 0 means that my report is in balance. And notice these 2 sections down here. I have a comment section where I can enter any specific comments about this reconciliation. And in this section, I can attach any documents, like a copy of my bank statement. And the beauty of this is that all the information about your reconciliation is here in one single screen that everyone knows how to access. No need to search through a file share to find the different documents anymore. Also, all your bank recs, no matter which user prepares them, is always in this standardized format. It's much easier for managers to review, and you can just give your auditors access to your system instead of spending time emailing them a ton of documents. Now, we started off talking about how REIT and property management companies have so many bank recs to complete. The example I showed was just for one account. But another great feature about the system is that once you build one reconciliation, you can piggyback what's built to quickly add all your other reconciliations within minutes. Let's take a look at how that works. This window here is where I set up the specific accounts to match. You'll notice that my first account, 10-10,000, is already set up. To add my second account, here's all I have to do. Enter in the account name. In this example, I'll use entity 11 for account 10,000. Pick the account from my list of accounts within the system. Now my journal entries, just tell it where the account number exists. And that's it. Now, the next time I run the matching rules, it's going to match the bank transactions and the journal entry transactions for account 11-10,000. That's all that's required to set that up. Now, this example right here, I just show you how to manually add the second account, but we know for REIT and property management companies that have hundreds of accounts, doing it one by one can be a little bit tedious. So I want to let you know that there is a way to upload a spreadsheet with your accounts on it to quickly populate the screen within minutes if you have hundreds or thousands of accounts. The last thing I want to mention is this matching feature can be used for any files you're reconciling today, not just for bank reconciliations. So for example, if you're using Excel to match payroll data to journal entries, or credit card data to bank data, or subledger transactions to general ledger transactions, the system's pass rules can be used to automate that matching as well. So I quickly want to go over some of the highlights that you've seen so far. The system can do the work of matching 90% or more of your transactions. Time saved can be used to reallocate FTEs or spend time on other company projects. Your reconciliation and supporting items are located in one standardized format. There's a quick implementation, even with many bank accounts, and we can help you based on your comfort level. We have one customer that asked us to set up 50 bank recs and then train them on how to set up the others. We have other customers that ask us to set up all their bank recs in the system. The approach is totally up to you. And lastly, the matching rules are likely more advanced than any other matching product on the market. So even if you're already using a system today to match, BlackLine will probably automatically match a higher percentage of your transactions. Okay, well that completes the demonstration of the bank reconciliation module. I appreciate everyone taking the time to watch. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email us at info@revelwood.com. Thanks.